Hey y'all. Please be patient with me because I'm still learning this for the first time. So it looks like it is connected. It did connect.
Period.
Okay. All right. So welcome to the first episode of the Crown by Nichele podcast. It is my joy to be with you today. I'll admit, Aubria does not realize she kind of pushed me out there because we were talking about just connecting on something. And I said, this will be a great way to open it up. So I am your host, Brian N. Jenkins, owner of Crown by Nichele LLC. I'll tell you more about that later. Along with you have what is called Crown Her Mentoring and you have Crown Solutions. And I don't want to get into all that because there's so much I want us to discuss. Former classroom teacher, poet, author, spoken word artist, and just your everyday activist who wants us to vote and learn. I want to spread light. That's my headline, spreading light. So I'm going to allow Aubria to introduce, and I want her to introduce herself, and then we're going to take it from there.
I thought you said you was going to introduce me.
You know what? And I was trying to remember what did I say I was going to do? And I was like, I didn't want to pull up my notes.
Listen.
Let me go to my notes. So I don't remember the year, but Aubria was in my 7th grade ELA class at Blackwood Middle. I don't remember her being talkative. I don't remember her. I just remember her being a light in the classroom. And you have certain students over time, y'all just gel and you just stick together forever. And she's definitely one of those. One thing I will say about Aubria, she's always been a hard worker, always been determined to do whatever she can put her hand in. I remember she did basketball at Blackwood Middle and Blackwood High. So she went to Columbia College and did the doggone thing. So one thing I admire about her is that she just has this confidence about her that she displays, like, I got this and I'm going to do it. And she definitely has this. There's some other things we feel like she has, but we'll talk about that in another. We had a discussion before we started, but she is definitely one of those ones where it bothers me when people make comments about how what's this generation going to be like and we don't know what's going to happen. No, she's what I call the hope. She's one of those you definitely believe good things are going to continue to come out of her and spark out of her. That's what I will say about Aubria. She's dabbled in acting. She's also you need a guest speaker for your youth. I know she didn't want me to say this, but I'm going to. She's an awesome guest speaker. I will make sure we put up her social media so you can follow her. Nevertheless, she is an awesome, beautiful, brilliant young lady. Don't start. And I didn't bring any tissue. So I guess you introduce
So as she said, my name is Aubria Ceon. I am a content creator. I am a business manager for my father's public speaking business. So I handle all of his content creation, invoicing, emailing, all of that good stuff. And I'm just super excited to be here. This is dope. I'm going to try not to cry, but I'm not going to make no promises.
So we basically let's say this. The first question I had for you is, our topic tonight, for those of you wondering, Crown by Nichele, what exactly is your platform, Ryan? Everything. Okay, everything. Yes. Like, I'm trying to talk about education, politics, but I'm going to bring on people who I believe are experts to pour into that situation. Fashion, whatever you can think of, I am going to speak on it. And if you have any topics you want to bring to me, I will put my contact information up in the comments so you can send me topics you want to talk about. I also do business spotlights. Like, I would love to bring some business owners. I know people who I will familiarize myself with, but either way, it's everything because I believe we should know about everything. So for those of you who don't know, I am a former classroom teacher. As I said, former. I was in the classroom for 20 years.
Woo.
20 years. So basically, one of the things I feel like we don't emphasize enough is the positive effects of a relationship between a teacher and a student and what that looks like and what that should be. So I'll admit I did not always get it perfect. Nevertheless, obviously, you're 25?
26.
Shut up.
Yes.
Okay. So she is 26. When we first met, she was 12. 12. Okay. So that says something about our dynamics. That says something about the type of bond that we had in the classroom. So my first question to you is, and I'm going to let you start on it, and then we're going to go back and forth, is how would you define, how do you think our relationship evolved? And what were those things that helped us become what we are today or become over time?
Okay. I would say when you come from certain circumstances, such as I did at an early age, where I was in foster care for a few years, dealt with abuse, neglect, you become to know genuine people. And especially like students, we know when a teacher is being genuine, when they being real, when they really care, and when they don't. And honestly, I had never felt that teacher love connection until like I came to your classroom.
Wow.
Like I will say, like my 5th grade teacher, she was great, but it was just a different type of connection that I had with you. And I will say that you helped me to discover passions that I didn't even know I had. Like I hated reading at one point in time. My mom used to try to put me in a room for like 30 minutes, read a book. Never did it. I really thought I hated reading. And then I came into your classroom and it was such a safe haven, and like your room was filled with different books. And I remember probably the first one I read, it was Keisha's Drama. I will never forget that book. I will never
That
forget
was a bomb series.
I will never forget it. And I read that
gosh.
book and I was like, whoa, like there are books like this? Like, so that helped me to realize that I feel like everybody loves to read. It's just a matter of finding what kind of books appeal to you. And I also discovered that I love to write as well. And that was something that I didn't even know that I would enjoy. Like, it's just when you come in contact with that teacher who has that like motherly love, where it's of course a boundary drawn with it. Like, yes, I want to connect with you. Yes, I care. Yes, I want to see you do great. But also, like, don't forget, I am your teacher. I am the adult. So don't get it twisted. Okay. So I feel like that was just the dope dynamic of what our relationship came to be. And then you flash forward into present time, and it's like you've never left my side, in my biggest moments, when I graduated high school, you came to my cookout. Like when we had our book signing for our book, you came. Like when I had my college graduation parade, you came. Like, it's just, you always showed up. And I don't think sometimes teachers like understand how significant showing up can be, like just showing up. Because sometimes you have students who may not have parents in the home. So having just at least one teacher who genuinely shows up, it makes all of the difference.
So I want to go back to a point that you made about a safe haven. So what you said the motherly vibes, you said making sure you have a healthy boundary. What else can teachers add to their classroom or bring personality wise to make their classroom feel like a safe haven, you think?
I would say vulnerability. I feel like a lot of times teachers, they're too uptight. And especially when you are dealing with today's youth, they're so different than when I was in school. So it's like you have to find a way to connect and show us the real you. Because I feel like sometimes kids, they don't realize that, y'all were kids at one point in time too. So we be like, I don't know, we just see y'all as adults and that's it. So it's a matter of giving that level of vulnerability so that way we know we can be our authentic selves with you and that we can open up to you. And when we can like feel that we can open up to you, it's a game changer. Like, because once you know, like, say what's going on with me, what I'm dealing with, like you can give that advice to help me work on whatever I may need help with. So I feel like it's a matter of being vulnerable.
Okay. So vulnerability. And ironically, I made a post on my multiple social media platforms, and there was a young man, I want to say his name is Dwayne Reed, and he made the comment, whoever taught you not to be transparent with your kids lied.
Yes.
And it's like, is a level, not saying they need to know if you're going through a divorce and all that, but it's just something about sharing, when I was a kid, I did this, or when I was a teenager, I did it. It's something about that being open and honest. And I'll admit, I definitely have done that as a teacher. One thing I want to add to what she said about being that safe haven, whether it's playing music. I don't remember how much music I played with y'all, but I remember playing music, but I remember it was CD play. It was CD player. We tried to do streaming. I remember we tried to stream in the classroom, but then they would shut it down. But like I remember putting together CDs and playing music every now and again. Playing music they like that's appropriate for the classroom. She mentioned the books, so I would do book talks with the kids, share what I'm reading, and have other kids share what they're reading and whatnot. So it's just all those things play into it, and just, you don't have to holler. Now, I'll admit I was a little bit better within the last 5 years than I was maybe when I started with you. I had my moments, but I also had moments where it was just like, did you really just say that, Miss Jenkins? I've definitely grown in that area. So it's one of those things where it's so important how she said having a safe haven, because again, they should feel safe with you. Like it's time out for, I've heard professionals say, or moms say, you don't go to school to be liked. And the reality is this generation of kids don't understand that. And number two, they shouldn't have to comprehend that. They should feel like, okay, she likes me. And if she doesn't, she's professional enough that I can't even tell if she doesn't like me. So, but it's something about kids who, when you care, you'll push harder and you will do whatever. And I'll admit, she mentioned, like, one thing I forgot I went to, but I was going through some pictures that we took online, was I think it was senior night at Blythewood High. So, because I was looking at, it was you and your mom and your dad walking into the basketball court, because it was a few other kids I taught at Longleaf that y'all were on the basketball team together. And I mean, I don't go to every game. I don't, but if I can go to one here and there, I do. So, and I think all teachers, not because you're on duty, but you genuinely, if it's just one game per season, that's not a lot. So I'm gonna look at my notes to make sure I'm staying on topic. So we kind of hit those two things. So the next question was, what could teachers do? And I'll say this: when you think about me and Aubria's relationship, I don't call her on the phone, but every now and again, if I see something online, I'll text her, check in with her. And also, the reason why I was able to attend all those things that she mentioned is she let me know, and we follow each other on social media. And I tell my kids all the time, if you let me know and I'm available, I'll be there. But that's the thing. Just, you'll be surprised if you let your teachers know what they'll come out, what they'll show out and do. So you just got to invite them. So, and that's the reason why I was able to do all those things, because we stayed in touch. So, we already covered the next question, which was, what could teachers do to foster an unbreakable bond? Could you think of anything else that teachers can? We're not asking you to be your student's best friend, but what can we do to, like she said, that safe haven? What more can be done?
I would say, because like times are just changing, things are so different now with school, I would say, remember why you're doing what you're doing. Like, I feel like, I don't know. It's just like when I travel to these schools with my dad and I see like some of these teachers now and I hear how these kids may talk, or our teacher don't, or she don't, they just give us book work or da-da-da. Like, there's no engaging, there's no like time to connect. So then it makes me wonder, like, why did you become an educator? Like, was it because you wanted to impact future generations? You genuinely love, youth and wanting to see them do great, and or are you just, I don't know, it's just a job right now. I don't know. I might do something within the next year. I might not even be at this school next year. So it's like, really ask yourself, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I feel like the vision and the mission of why some teachers are teachers is kind of diminishing.
Okay. And I can speak to that, someone coming out of the classroom. I wouldn't say it's 50-50, but you do have some, and I've been saying it for years, you never should have been a teacher in the first place. Or you're tired and you're carrying on so much and you take it out on the kids and they don't deserve that. Because some of them are genuinely good teachers, or they were passionate about teaching, but because of the systems that be, or because of administration, or for whatever reason, they do not feel a need to push as hard as they used to, not realizing at the end of the day, a quote I like to say is, people gonna shop at Walmart regardless. Some people, y'all believe in Target, but some people gonna shop at Walmart regardless, despite the customer service, or they don't have this or they don't have that. Some people gonna keep going to McDonald's, even though they complain about the ice cream machine. We can't afford as teachers not to be 100%. Make sure our kids have whatever they need to have. So I'm gonna pause for a second. What I mean by pause, for whatever reason, I cannot see who is on in comments. So I'm going to look on the Instagram feed to see. I see that some people have joined us. I see Aubria's father, Kyle Speaks, is on. Yes, he talks to teachers all the time. I see some of you, my former students who jumped on here, like Jaden, Ayana. Some of you, I don't. Jalen Bronson, did I teach you? Ty Scott, I see you. I hope you're still on. Let me go on Facebook to see if anyone put anything in the comments. I don't see anything in the comments, but I see people are liking it though.
We love that.
Okay, awesome sauce. So make sure y'all share and let people know about this. So I'll admit, I don't have like a every Tuesday or every Thursday. It's going to be whenever I can get my guests to come in. That's when we'll have these discussions and whatnot. So one thing I want to speak on that she basically, as far as fostering the classroom,
I don't know why my connection keep going in and out on my phone.
And in mine, it might be, well, you're not on my Wi-Fi, so it's not. I'm not going to speak badly about who my Wi-Fi provider is. I want to, because I switched because it was cheaper and it's not worth it. But that's another conversation for another day. So one thing I will definitely say is another way you can foster an unbreakable bond. I didn't start doing this towards the latter end more when I was an avid teacher, is give your kids student evaluations. Have you ever had a teacher in high school or middle school do that?
I don't.
I know college is mandatory because it's done through administration. But as far as a teacher, I would give them a Google form and it would ask them, how did you do in Ms. Jenkins' class, grade-wise? What do you need to improve? What do you need to get better? And then also what at Ms. Jenkins? And I would ask them to rate me, which it was hilarious because you could tell the ones who just got in trouble with me, I would get a low rating with them versus the one who they never get in trouble. And then some of you could tell it was personal, but I was fine with that. And then I would address it. Like one of the kids admitted on several occasions, it was like, well, you don't give enough time to do work from other teachers because it was avid. So I was like, okay. So I made sure they had a designated day. Okay, this is your day to do work. You won't worry about doing work for me. You do work for your content teacher. So just doing that evaluation, actually hearing their voices, just giving them things they like to do that involve their voices. And like, as far as the books, as far as what do you have posted around your room, the posters and what, it's so many things I can keep going on and on. But the main thing is talk to them like they have respect. Like it used to be back in my day. Parents, adults can talk to you any kind of way. And you had to still say, yes, ma'am, or you would lose all your teeth. So, but these kids, these days, they not trying to hear all that. Their thing is, okay, you talk to me any kind of way, I'm gonna talk to you any kind of way. So it's something about, okay, can we step outside and have a conversation? Can we please, so-and-so, did you do so-and-so versus like immediately jumping at them? That doesn't work. That doesn't work with kids. And that's fostering that respect. Or when you have a conversation about something, and they probably did do something to make you mad, but it's something about, okay, so what should you have done in that situation? Versus, what's wrong with you? And there have been situations that I can think back and I realized I went in on them. And I remember one person in particular, it's ironic I think of this story because we reconnected on Facebook because somebody posted something. Tony posted something. Oh, wow, okay. And the guy posted underneath. No, it was somebody else. Tyler Knotts.
Oh yes, I remember.
I remember Tyler. I don't remember Tyler. Which Tyler? I'm sorry. So I remember Tyler Knotts because I remember he first sent me a report because I was like, because some of y'all I remember, then some of you I don't. So Tyler posted it, and then the young man, he was a twin. I have to look him up, but he posted a comment about how I came to his house to bring homework. It was some work him and his sister needed to do, and I brought it to him. But I remember he did something very inappropriate while I was out with a sub, and the way I went in on him, it was just like, after I was done, the Holy Spirit definitely checked me like, really? That's how we discipline kids? So I remember how at the end of the school year, I used to always write y'all letters. And I remember in his letter, I apologized for how I approached him. I said, you deserve so much more respect for that. There was no reason why for me to come at you the way that I did. Because it wasn't until like weeks later that I was like, man, I couldn't. Yeah. So, and I was like, you're a bright young man. You were doing something that was, whatever. But at the end of the day, I should have never approached you like that. So it was like, that's another thing teachers.
I was just thinking that when you were saying
afraid. Don't be afraid to apologize.
Don't be afraid. Yes. If you are wrong, you are wrong. Like, I don't know what it is, but
and I don't know if it's not even an adult thing. I think it's a pride thing. Where you can't say I apologize or I shouldn't have, or maybe I should have did it. Like, it's something when kids see you apologize, that tears down, I think, a whole bunch of walls, because adults are quick to be like, whatever, you know what I meant.
Yes.
And it's just like, okay. Like, okay, it's I don't understand. So if I make sure I'm covering everything, so what do you think the role that students can play in having an unbreakable bond with, because we talked about teachers, but I do believe that students play a role in fostering relationships with their teachers. What do you think students can do?
I would say be open. I think a lot of the time students probably think, oh, the teacher has to do this and the teacher need to do that and, do this and bend over backwards. And they only thinking about what the teacher should be doing, not realizing that in any bond, it takes two people. So I feel like you have to be open, because ultimately, even if it's a teacher that you may not like or you feel like don't like you, teachers want to see you win, or at least the good ones. I mean, and there's plenty of them. Ultimately, like they want to see you do well. So you have to be open and willing to receive that criticism, because I feel like youth today don't know how to take criticism. They take it as you're attacking me, or you want to, and they want to get rowdy and get bugged. And that's not necessarily the case. It's like, I realize if a teacher ain't saying nothing to you, isn't checking you about anything, then they don't care. When they're talking to you, when they're checking you, Aubria, I see you doing this. You could be doing so much better. Why do you da-da-da-da-da? When a teacher does that, that is what shows you that they care. That is what shows you that they see so much potential in you to be something so amazing one day that you don't even realize yourself yet. Like a lot of the times kids, they feel like you getting on them and you might yell, you may not yell, but you getting on them and they taking it the wrong way versus like, this woman want to see me be great. Like she wants to see me like, and I feel like I also in a sense learned that in your classroom. Like you was on my neck, but in a healthy way though. It was never like I don't feel like I've ever had a moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm fed up with Miss Jenkins, bro. Like I thought I loved her, but I don't think I do. Because it was always so like positively constructive. And I think that's another thing too, like teachers figuring out how to give criticism in a more positive way. Like it's okay, like positive reinforcement, you know what I'm saying? Like it's okay to get on a student, but how are you getting on them? Because if I feel like you're attacking me, then that's a whole nother thing. But I feel like, if I feel like it's coming out of a place of love, then I receive it differently. So I just feel like, like students have to be open to a teacher's criticism.
So there's a lot that you said there that I definitely wanted to harp on, and let me make sure I cover it all. One of the things she said is being open. So I have been in situations where students literally thought, oh, she's coming for me. She don't like me. And it took us, me, the student, the parent, an administration or a counselor sitting down and having a conversation and realize, no, I'm not coming for you. This is my intent. And sometimes as teachers, we don't understand that sometimes, like you said, your tone, if it comes off disrespectful, that can be one thing. Another wall may be, I never had someone to care for me like that. So because the fact that you're always on me, I'm thinking you're coming for me when the reality is you're showing that you care. Now, I don't think nagging, we have some teachers who nag.
Very true.
And we had some teachers, sadly, as one child incorrectly labeled me as a Karen. I said, do you know what a Karen is? Like, do you know what Karens do? And what she was really trying to communicate to me is you're always getting on us about stuff. I said, but I'm not racially profiling you. There's a difference, but that's another conversation. But the point I'm trying to make is when you're not used to someone writing you in a respectful way, saying, okay, I know you can do better. I know I saw you doing such and such. Maybe you want to do something different. You may not be able to receive that, but being open to realize, oh, they really are looking out for me. And some of you are receiving that. And instead of you quick to go off, just sit back and watch them for a minute and realize maybe they do care. Because I've always had kids who come back and told me, Miss Jenkins, I realize now you were really looking out for me. I realize you really were yada, yada, yada. And that's a blessing that they got it. But just know that not every teacher, because the one thing Aubria mentioned is there are good teachers out there. But I'm not going to sit here and lie, act like that we don't have some teachers that really, you should go. You should go. But for whatever reason, you're staying, or it's really hard to let a teacher go. That's the sad part. That's a conversation within itself. It's really hard because at the end of the day, we do have a teacher shortage. And as a result, it takes a lot for a teacher to be removed. Nevertheless, you have a right to advocate for yourself as a student, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're taking a part in trying to build those relationships. Like I'll never forget when one of my kids wanted me to come to something. I said, you never emailed me and told me about it. Because I said, if you email me, I can see it on my calendar. If I can, I forgot. But you went to such and such thing. I said, because they told me when it was going to happen. And I was open on my calendar and I was able to go. Like it's not hard. So it's just when you take that time to really be respectful, to really reach out and connect, you'd be surprised how far those relationships will go. Like we said, she's 26 years old. We met when she was 12. You're going to need teacher recommendations. You're going to need going to college, applying for magnet programs when you're transitioning from middle school to high school. When you apply for colleges, when you apply for jobs, you'll be surprised at the number of text messages I get from former students. Can you be a reference? Like, yeah. So all that stuff ties into. So I definitely, and the reason why I brought up how do students play a part, because again, like she said, you have to be open. I'm not saying immediately put your guard down, because I understand why some, like you said, because of what you came from your background, she had some walls. But it's like when she sensed, oh, she's real, and she's gonna be there, and she's really looking out for me, those walls come down. And that's one thing we need to be open to and see sometimes as students, that okay, they genuinely do care, so I can trust them. So it is definitely a journey within itself. I'll admit, I think we've covered everything. So let me make sure there's not any questions or any comments. Y'all, once I figure out this whole streaming thing, it will be streamlined. Right now, I literally have to go to see if there's any comments or anything. And then, like, I'm seeing people who are joining. Like, I see Crystal, and then some other people here. So if y'all don't have any questions, we're going to talk about what's coming up next with us. Like, I don't see any questions or anything. So what's next with you?
What's next with me?
Traveling, or what do you say?
That's a great question. Because what's next, Miss Ingham? I don't know. But yes, definitely a whole lot of traveling. Mr. Green's speaking business was really like picked up within the last
Kyle Speaks
2 years or so, and I will definitely credit that to me. He credits that to me because he wanted me to come work for him, but I told him no, because I'm like, I don't feel like you don't have enough, like, because he was making it seem like he needed me. I'm like, you don't need me because you, and it may not have come off right, but I'm like, you're not booking that much to need me. And I guess he took that personal, and he was like, oh, well, I'm gonna show you that I need you. So yeah, we are traveling everywhere. Like next week, Sunday, we have to fly to New Orleans, be there until Monday, then have to fly out to Omaha, Nebraska. We'll be there until that Thursday. Then we have to fly out to Houston to be there until Friday. Then we go back home. So yeah, whole lot of, that's all in 1 week now. I don't know how we about to make this happen. Lord Jesus, with this whole time. So a lot of traveling, a lot of impact with students. I love it because I get to impact students in my own way with my, so I'm like, oh, she's a social media influencer. She got this, she does that. The kids don't want to come up to me and take pictures and ask me how I do what I do. And I just, I love that. Figuring out how I'm gonna get into this acting world, I definitely will say it's gonna be a matter of figuring out how to balance Mr. Green stuff with Aubria's stuff. So that's
okay. So if you have not, I have to bring them back together. But they do have a book, her and her father, called Father Goals. That's gonna be, I don't want to, because I'm going over my time. So but definitely you can find it on Amazon. Kyle Green, Aubria Green. Definitely check out, is the website kylespeaks.com, or
I believe it's kyleagreen.com, but we have our own website, fatherdaughtergoals.com.
Okay. So either way, fatherdaughtergoals.com, and then kyleagreen.com. Aubria Ceon, Ceon.
Mhm.
You can find her everywhere. What's going next with me? Saturday. Saturday, One Columbia with the Luminol Theater. We are celebrating James' 100th birthday. So we are having a it's like a performance, guest speakers, and they're going to have a film that ties into who he is and whatnot. So that is tomorrow. Um, please follow me on social media. I don't want to give you all the wrong time, but it's tomorrow. They're having it tomorrow, and then I'm performing on Saturday. So they're doing like the poetry is musical performances, poetry, and then a film. Um, so I'm really excited about that. There's stuff going on. I can't tell you right now from my head. I've been so focused on this Baldwin because he's an author. As much as I encourage other people, I was never that student who loved to read growing up. Oh yeah, my mom used to pay us. If y'all read so many books, and I was so, but it wasn't until I realized, Ryan, you got to teach me. You can't not love to read. So my mom introduced me to some books y'all's level, middle school textbooks like your Sharon Blake, your Sharon Drapers, and your Walter Z. Myers. And I took that and ran with it. So James Baldwin is one of those I'm still discovering. His work is just phenomenal. Um, so basically, we're reading poetry based on that show. So I extremely grateful for you coming and sharing my first episode with you. Just any last tips to either our teachers or our students when it comes to a positive relationship? What any last words you want to give?
I would just say, as previously mentioned, it takes two teachers. You have to meet students where they are. I mean, they don't necessarily have to meet you where you are. And I think that's another thing that teachers fail to realize. It's such an authoritative thing with them. Like, it's you listen to me. It's about me. It's not about you. It's about meeting your students where they are, bring them. And I think not educators have kind of lost sight of that as well. But definitely students play a part as well because teachers play such an instrumental role in society, period. I'm not even just going to say, in a kid's life. Like, school is where children spend majority of their time. So in a sense, it's like educators are molding your children in, addition to what you do as a parent, but like cannot educators. Y'all need to pay them more money on, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
Yes.
But yes, like something so profound that my father said about is called good student equity. I really think he needs to trademark that. If you're watching, you really need to trademark that. But he said it's building that relationship, is pouring in first, so that way you have the ability to take out. So when you need to reprimand a student for whatever the case may be, because you've already put in, now you can take out. Versus, you haven't even taken the time to establish that relationship, but you want to try to check about something.
Yeah.
You don't even know the first. What are you talking about?
That's actually another term for it. I've heard it. It's called relational capacity. So I have that capacity because I formed a relationship with you. I can check you, but I also understand how to check you because I formed a relationship with you. It's certain kids say certain things too, and there are other kids who have to watch my tone. I have to watch eye contact because anything can set them off. But because I took the time to get to know you, you have to be so that's very good advice. So one last tip that I would definitely say to all of you is just number one, at the end of the day, teachers, remember that you were once in their shoes. And because you were once in their shoes, you were going to treat you with respect as a child. How would you want them to speak to you? How would you want them to regard you? So treat them how you would want to be treated. I trust when you reciprocate a level of respect that they are like, oh my gosh, you'll be surprised at what leaps and bounds they will jump. And people just because they want to impress you
Yes.
and they see that you care and you're actually watching.
Yes.
And students, be open to a relationship with those teachers,
Mhm.
be open to the criticism. We're not always coming for you.
Yeah.
If you see something that you don't see, or been somewhere that you have not been, and we're trying to give you foresight.
Yes.
So I greatly appreciate y'all joining me for my first episode. This is Crime on the Show podcast. So you can on August 13th. Yes, I already have my next show lined up. I'm so proud of
Period.
myself. So next Tuesday, August 13th, I'm gonna between Tuesday and Thursday. Next, not next Tuesday, but Tuesday after next, I am going to have on Mrs. Janelle Butler, who is part of Coach with Janelle LLC. She's a licensed professional counselor, coach, and motivational speaker. And we are going to be talking about making the home a safe place. One of the things I talked to some people about when COVID hit, it bothered me that a lot of our kids were stuck at home. Notice I said stuck.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be that way. I think if we can learn some strategies on what we can do to be better parents and be safer at home, that is definitely what we're looking for. So she is definitely a professional in mental health and counseling. So bringing her on, her go back to our Woo days at Winthrop. We talk together at Longleaf Middle, and it'll be a great pleasure to have her on to talk about that. So until then, have a good night.